Aloha Yellow 6 students. Today we are first going to discuss and correct your assignment that you completed from yesterday. As we go over the correct answers, if you got any of the answers wrong, please go ahead and type in what the correct answer should be. That way you can utilize this assignment worksheet as a way to study and prepare for your formative and summative. Okay, let's begin. Feudalism, a system for living. The Middle Ages were the years between ancient times and modern times. Historians say that the Middle Ages started about AD 500 and lasted until AD 1500. This part of history is called medieval times. Medieval means from the Middle Ages. A knight was an important person in medieval society. He was expected to be loyal to a king. That lord was then expected to be loyal to the lord. Each knight and lord was supposed to watch over the people in his care who were less powerful. The medieval power system was constructed like a pyramid. The people at the top of the system had the most power. They were the kings and queens. Next in power were the nobles, then knights, and finally peasants. This system was called feudalism. Power belonged to those who controlled the land. A landowner gave a share of the land called a fief to another who promised to be loyal to the landowner. In this system, the landowner was a lord, and the man promising to be loyal to him was called a vassal. A lord's chief duty was to protect his vassals and their lands. The lord asked his vassals advice before making laws or going to war. Women of noble class also played important part in the feudal society. A noble woman was often sent to the family and friends for training. After her training was finished, she became lady of the household. She had to manage the household, perform medical tasks, and supervise servants. A lord might rule one manor or many. A manor was a large estate that often included a village and farmlands. The lord depended on his manor for wealth. The manor was often far from towns and villages, so its residents had to be self-sufficient or able to supply their own needs, including food, shelter, and clothing. The manor was also have a carpenter, a shoemaker, a metal worker called a smith, and other skilled workers. The peasants did all the labor on the manor. They farmed the lord's fields to raise food for his household. In return, each peasant family could farm a small strip of land for itself. The family would still owe the lord a part of the fall harvest. Peasants lived in one-room huts with just a single window. They built a fire on the dirt floor for heat and cooking. In most cases, peasants were serfs. This means that they belonged to the land. They were even considered part of the manor on which they lived. When a noble was given a manor, its serfs became his. Serfs could not marry nor leave the manor without the agreement of the noble or lord. Although serfs were considered property, they were not slaves. Okay, now on the next slide that we're correcting is going to be the definitions. Okay, now if I'm going over this and it's a little too quick for you, feel free to pause. Okay, that way you can go ahead and copy down what you need to. Now, a serf that was able to escape to a city and there for a year and a day without being caught also became free. This custom had a big effect on medieval Europe. Now, the definitions for the following words. Middle Ages is a time between 500 1500 AD, the years between ancient and modern times. Medieval means from the Middle Ages. Okay, from the Middle Ages. Feudalism, it is medieval power system. Okay, feudalism means medieval power system. Vassal, a man who promised to be loyal to a lord or landowner. Manor, it is a large estate that a lord ruled over. Serf, it is a peasant that belonged to the land, but not a slave. Okay, on the last slide, that was your homework. Fields. Fields. It's used to grow crops, some owned by the church, belong to the Lord, and divided among peasants. Grain mill. Sometimes housed the village oven where they baked the bread. The mill was turned by flowing water. Manor. It had a wall or fence. In times of trouble, villagers took shelter behind the manor house wall. It was separated from the rest of the village. Okay. Now, as long as you had typed in the correct answer and you resubmit it, then your teacher will give you credit for this. Make sure you complete it to the best of your ability. And as I mentioned, pause it if necessary. Okay, now I'd like to go over today's assignment. Okay, so for today's assignment, you're going to go into your Mililani Middle School site. What we are going to do is you are going to listen and read a Capstone interactive Horrible, Miserable Middle Ages, the disgusting details about life during the medieval times, written by Kathy Allen, and I'm going to show you how you will get to that site. Now, you should all be at this Mililani Middle School site. You will go to Student, scroll down to Library. Okay. Now, once you scroll down to Library, you're going to click on this image. Okay, when I get to this image, and it's still buffing, you're going to go to where it says eBooks. And from eBooks, you'll go to Capstone Interactive. So when I click on Capstone Interactive, it'll take me to this login. Okay, so to do the login, I'm going to press login, and you're going to type in the bottom. Don't have to do anything up here, but type in the bottom, Mililani MS, all lowercase. That's your username. And password, you'll type in the same, Mililani MS. Okay, the username and the password are the same. So do that and then press go. Now, after you press go, it'll take you to the Capstone Interactive Library. You're going to click on where it says search for books, because this will take it to you faster. So I'm going to click on this, and please type in medieval times. Medieval times. Oops. spell it correctly. Okay, once you type it in, click the search. And there you have the book, The Horrible, Miserable Middle Ages, the disgusting details about life during medieval times. So you will click on this book and you will play the book so that you can go ahead and read it. Okay, so each of you will go ahead and you can read the book all at once, and you can read it page by page.
The Horrible, Miserable Middle Ages. The Disgusting Details About Life During Medieval Times by Kathy Allen. Dirty Work. In 476 AD, the fall of the Roman Empire in the West gave way to the Middle Ages. Some things in the Middle Ages were great, but other things were filthy. During this time, Europe was broken into manors.
Okay, so you are going to be reading along as you read this book. And as you read this book, on your assignment, it's going to be on your assignment slide. So after you completed this that we had just gone over, your definitions, you're going to go to slide number 9. Slide number 9, number 10, and slide 11, and slide 12. So 9, 10, 11, 12. 4 slides. You are going to be answering the questions that you've learned by reading The Horrible, Miserable Middle Ages, the disgusting details about life during medieval times by Kathy Allen. So after reading the book, go back and let's answer the questions. And if you have difficulty remembering, then go back to the book. Okay, so let's go over some of the questions, so at least you have a preview. The first page talks about dirty work. Okay, dirty work. Why wasn't it easy for the peasants to wash off the filth when they worked a long, hard day? Question number 2. How often did most peasants bathe? Question number 3. What did peasants do as an after-meal activity? Rotting teeth. Okay, so the next section you read on rotting teeth. What did some people think caused cavities? Question number 2. What were the 2 methods of treating cavities and rotting teeth? Question number 3. Do you think the proven remedy for curing a toothache would actually work? Why or why not? Okay, then on the next slide. Okay, the topic is on trenchers and other treats. Why did commoners, which were the peasants and serfs, have loose teeth and spongy gums? Question number 2. What are trenchers and who were they given to? Okay, the subtopic on no flushing. Number 1. What were the names of the people who cleaned out the cesspots? Number 2, why do you think the people who cleaned the cesspots were unpopular and living only with other cesspot cleaners? Number 3, what was the difference between a chamber pot and an outhouse? Okay, then cold castles subtopic. Number 1, what was the main source of heat for medieval castles? Number 2, why were moats scary and gross? Okay, next subtopic, medieval towns. List 2 reasons why city streets in medieval villages were disgusting. Okay, the next subtopic, barber surgeons. Number 1, what was the best case and worst case for people who relied on folk medicine and common healers to cure their ailments? Number 2, What could be dangerous about putting pig poop on a bleeding nose? Number 3. What would medical doctors use to suck blood from patients? Okay, the next subtopic is plague horrors. Number 1. What was another name for the plague? Number 2. How did people get the plague? Number 3. What were the lumps from the plague called? And number 4. Why would people toss dead plague bodies over castle walls? Okay, and the last slide for this assignment, you need to use the glossary in the back of the book that you read to define these words. So you'll be going back and forth. So bloodletting, cavity, fumes, moat, noble, peasant, plague, scurvy, serfs. Okay, so look in the back of the glossary of that interactive book. Of this interactive book, you'll be looking in the back. Scroll.
Trenchers.
Okay,
With
so you'll see that it has a subtitle where you can look for the answers. Okay, I'm just going to see if this goes down. See? Subtitle, Plague Horrors. So at the very
Bodies
end,
were left outside homes.
Anyway, at the very end of this screen, you should find the glossary of this book. Okay? So right here on the bottom, it says glossary. Let me see. There. It has all the definitions for slide 12. You will be copying this definition where it needs. Okay? Where it says glossary on the bottom, you can click on that. Okay, so good luck, do your very best, and remember it's due by tomorrow. Okay, aloha.